Good evening, Mr. BillyMorshu. It is nice to talk to you and interview you and all that good shit. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Stu, and thanks for having me on the show.
Well, let's get this show on the road. How did you first come across YouTube poop?
Well, sometime last year, I was just browsing around YouTube looking at random videos, but then I came across What is Spaghetti? At first, I thought it was just random, but not really funny, until I started watching some of Deeper Cut and Walrus Guy's videos, as well as some other videos, and I thought were pretty funny.
How long you been making poops now, Billy?
Well, as of right now, about a year.
So how did you get involved in the Gaston collab with Jake Steele?
Well, one day while I was just browsing around YouTube, Jake Steele sent me a message asking if Dual Screen and I wanted to be part of a mini collaboration, kind of like what Deeper Cut and Guy Safari did with the Jackie Chan cartoon. Well, at first we couldn't really decide on what source to use, so we kind of went back and forth on deciding which one to use, but then eventually Jake Steele suggested that we use Gaston, so we all agreed to that. And so I went to go download the movie and cut out all the clips with Gaston in it, and then I sent it to Dual Screen and Jake Steele, and we got to work. And then eventually the collab was finished, and it turned out to be a lot better than I ever anticipated.
Alright, let's talk about your regular poops. You seem to have this bizarre fetish with anime and Japanese cartoons and the lot of that. What's up with that?
Well, believe it or not, my original plan when I first started making poops was to use game shows like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and The Price is Right, kind of like what I did with my first two poops. But then, before I even made my account BillyMorshu, Dual Screen invited me to join his first anime collaboration. But at that time, I wasn't really into anime, so I never really thought of using anime as a main source, but I decided to just give it a shot. And after I made my part inside the collab, I just found anime to be a lot more fun to use. And plus there's also the big variety of animes to choose from, so that just gives me a lot more sources to work with. And it also provides me with a challenge, because I know how a lot of people just cannot stand anime. Of course I do not blame them, because hell, I used to hate anime several years before I even started making YouTube poop. So that just gives me more of a challenge to try and entertain more people with a source that a lot of people just cannot stand. Why, it's more than they can bear.
How does it feel to be one of the few metalheads in YouTube poop?
Well, that actually makes me feel kind of proud, because as many people know, heavy metal is my favorite music genre, and I'll pretty much listen to any kind of metal. Whether it's power metal or death metal, or I don't know why, but a lot of people don't like hair metal, but I like it too. Although my favorite band would have to be Iron Maiden. I'm pretty sure Dual Screen and Jake Steele can at least agree that they're a good band.
So a while back you started an alt account called Billy Offer, which you also put videos on. Is there any particular reason you made that account?
Well, the main reason I made that account was because a while back, some of my older videos were getting flagged and taken down because some assholes thought it'd be funny. But then about a few weeks ago, I had to use that account because I wasn't able to log onto my main because another asshole took down another video, even though there was nothing that bad in it, but apparently it was gonna hurt the children and all that bullshit. But eventually I may have to use that account as my main account if my current account does get banned, which I hope does not happen.
What pooping software are you currently using?
Well, I am currently using Sony Vegas Pro 8.0.
So tell us about the first YouTube poop you ever made. What was it like?
Well, the first poop that I uploaded to BillyMorshu, that was kind of an experiment I just threw together just to see if I could start getting better at YouTube poops, because I had made a few before that. But when I made that video, it was pretty much all done in one night. So it was kind of rushed, but then at the same time, I did not have any sentence mixing down or pretty much any of the techniques that I use today.
Do you have any particular source that you really lean to right now? Any particular show, a cartoon, whatever?
Well, I'm sure this is going to be just one huge surprise to a lot of people, but yes, it's actually an anime, and it's Fate Stay Night. Basically, it's just a fighting anime with a lot of movement and dialogue, so that pretty much just makes it perfect for me to use. And there's also the fact that I'm a Saber fanboy, so that just kind of adds on to it. At first, it was just an inside joke between me and Dual Screen because we like to joke around that kind of crap. But then eventually it kind of escalated to where now a lot of people know about it, and eventually Jake Steele caught onto it, and now he's starting to get into this whole mess. I'm not going to get into detail that much. If you want a little more detail, then go ahead and watch my YouTube poop of Jake Steele's interview.
So what poopers are you really into right now?
Well, of course, one of them is going to be Dual Screen 77 because he is the one that actually got me into making YouTube poops. A few others are Jake Steele 0121, Catpan6, Master Guanum, retarded anime parody, and people that are kind of similar to him, like FFgasm, and pretty much anyone else that has a good variety of sentence mixing along with stuttering and YTPMVs and a little bit of rape here and there.
What do you consider the best poop and worst poop you ever made?
Well, as for the best poop that I think I made, it'll probably have to be either two of my Fate Stay Night poops, which are Did You Know You Live Until You Die, and the one that I uploaded a few hours before I did this interview, which is She's Not Just Sleeping Under Shiro's Roof. But as for the worst poop I think I've made, that's kind of hard because I think a lot of them are pretty bad, but it'll probably have to be the first poop I uploaded, which is Ben hosts the best game show ever.
Alright, finally, what have you got to say to every other YouTube pooper out there?
Well, all I really have to say is to just find a technique and or a source that you really like to use and just keep practicing at it. Whether it's using sentence mixing, YTPMV, rape, or if it's using anime, video games, or a movie, just keep on trying. And one thing I've seen dual screen say that's pretty much just common sense is just have fun, because if we didn't have fun, most of the people you see making YouTube poops today would not be making them, because it's not like we're getting paid for this.
Which would give you more pleasure, having sex with an anime girl or unsubbing from Captain Fawful?
Okay, well that's one of the strangest questions I've ever been asked, but I've never been subbed to Captain Fawful, so I wouldn't really know what it's like to unsubscribe from him, and I wouldn't really know what it would be like to do an anime girl, because I pretty much know that they're not real. Although I guess you could maybe print them on a big piece of paper and, I don't know, punch a hole in a certain place and put it on a pillow, but it's not like I know anything about it. No, don't get me wrong, I know nothing about that, but yeah, I'm not really sure how to answer that. Well, I guess you could ask Dual Screen about it, because I'm pretty sure he'll have an answer. Osaka. And I pretty much provided a way for Jake Steele to imagine he's doing an anime girl inside the Jake Steele interview YouTube poop, so yeah, just go check that out if you want to know what I'm talking about.
Well, thank you very much, BillyMorshu, for participating in this interview. I appreciate it very much. You have a very nice day.
Well, thanks, Stu. It was a lot of fun answering the questions, and it was great to be interviewed. Just want to say a quick thanks to Dual Screen and Jake Steele for being awesome people, and thanks to all my subscribers. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go fap. Wait a minute. How can I get off to this? There's no anime girls.